Perfect.
Do it.
No.
You're live, babe. You're live. Go ahead. Begin project.
Woo! What's going on? MyLifestyleAcademy.com. We are live with another awesome interview episode. We are live on Twitter, YouTube, the Facebook, all over the place. We're actually live on social media. Anyway, so I'm really excited to be here, excited to have this conversation with Julie Burke because she is amazing. And right before we went live, we were actually discussing, and let us know in the comments, especially the replay viewers, because most of the replay viewers are watching in the beginning as we're getting started, but you can just share it in there. That would be awesome. Okay. So we were talking about a second dog. So I want to know in the comments, for those of you hopping on live or watching the replay, let us know, one dog or two. Should you have the same sex or opposite sex? Just curious. Would love to get some feedback. I'm trying to convince the Russian Hammer. And she's like, oh, there's no convincing me. We will never have a second. We will never have a dog, period. And then, of course, Julie Burke, the amazing Julie Burke here. She's so good at selling that she sold Nadia on getting a dog.
Yes.
So this is how I'm edifying Julie. Okay. She's so good at selling that she convinced the stubborn Russian Hammer, who's also a Taurus, and her birthday's coming up soon, that dogs are a no-no. And then once we got the dog, you know what she said? She said that dog will never, you said, that dog will never sleep in my bed. Where do you think Toby sleeps every night?
My baby.
Oh my God.
Not only does he sleep in the bed, he cuddles up against Nadia. So,
oh my God, fantastic. You know, I've sold Nadia on a couple things, John.
This is true.
Jalapeno margaritas.
Yes.
Toby.
Jalapeno margaritas. Toby. She's going to help me sell you on getting a second puppy. JQ is all about it. We're going to make it happen. So how do you sell without being sleazy? You just, you use your charisma. All right. So no, there's a little more to it than that. But on a serious note, one dog or two, let us know in the comments. And as you're hopping on, make sure you let us know where you're coming in from. Make sure you subscribe. So when I go live, you get notified every time we drop a new video, every time we go live. And we're always bringing you value. Today, Julie Burke. Tomorrow, Les Brown. We're going to be interviewing next week. We've got more interviews lined up. So we're bringing the fire. We're trying to help those of you that are building online businesses, that are wanting to generate more leads. You want to increase your conversions, your sales, your duplication, whatever it is in your home business. And today's going to be a great conversation for anyone that's a network marketer, an online entrepreneur. They want to sell. They want to produce better results. Maybe they want to become a top producer within their network marketing company. We just had our biggest month we've ever had. And we've really mastered the social selling concept and creating curiosity and how to promote without being overly promotional. And Julie's one of the best at this. She's built a phenomenal brand. She's built a 7-figure business. She's had a ton of success helping people, just like those of you watching right now, leverage social media, build a personal brand. So she didn't just do it for herself. You see some people where, they built this huge brand, right? They've got courses and books and this massive following, but they're not teaching anyone else how they did it. So Julie specializes in this conversation. She's a great friend of ours. We always have a lot of fun together. So really excited for her to share with you a little bit about her story, her background, but also get into some of the best strategies that are working today in 2020 and beyond to help you create better success when you're promoting your products, promoting your business, so that you don't feel sleazy. Anybody else ever feel sleazy? Smash the heart button. Let me know if you ever feel sleazy or you feel like you're being salesy and it just doesn't feel real good and you want to show up with more authenticity. Smash the heart button if that's you. Julie, let's get started. Excited to have you here.
I am so excited. Thank you so much. As always, I have a ton of fun when I do these interviews with you and Nadia. We're always laughing, always giving some good nuggets to the viewers. So wow. Okay. Where do I start? Thank you for the introduction, by the way. That was super sweet. Do you want me to just dive in a little bit about my story? Okay.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
It's funny because I'm doing this training with you on how to sell without selling or being sleazy. And yet I used to run from sales, legit. I despised it. And I'll share that story real quick. So, a little bit about me. I've been in the network marketing space since 2012. It was very, very new to me. So I had no like preconceived notions of, you know, basically when I got my first, oh, you're in the pyramid thing, it was my best friend. And I was like a deer in headlights. Like, so the funny thing was I was at a home party for a friend who was hosting a party. And it was, I don't even know what kind of product is what it was. So I'm in the back, there's a ton of chicks there, and I'm drinking wine and I'm talking to my best friend. And now I was in my network marketing business for about probably about a month. And my first month in my network marketing business, I made $2,500 because I was like ignorance on fire, like the knowledge on ice, ignorance on fire. I'm like, oh my God, I love the product. It's amazing. Everyone needs this product. And that's really how I went out there and just started exposing it. And I used Facebook. So at the time I didn't even have a Facebook account. Used Facebook to draw in wrote my first curiosity post. And I had 45 people asking me what I was doing. That was just back in 2012, before there was pictures and GIFs and all this stuff. So I got an account, I put this out, I got some friends. I think I had 110 friends, and I put this out there and 45 people. That's what started my network marketing journey. So when I was at this house and I got the first, you're in a pyramid scheme from my best friend, I went like, what are you talking about? What's a pyramid scheme? She's like, you know, one of those Ponzi things where you get people in and then they get people in. And then I went home that night and I remember talking to Tim, and I was so hurt and so upset. I attached so much emotion to it. And yet I realized that was the greatest learning, like lesson learned in the early stages of my network marketing career, because it taught me two things. Number one, that what people think, what my mission is greater than what people think. And number two, that I had to roll up my sleeves and really understand what the heck network marketing was, because I had a feeling I wasn't only going to come up against adversity like I did with her, there was going to be other people, right? And so I almost quit that night, John. I legit almost allowed that whole scene to quit, but I did it. I talked with my mentor, which is so great about having a strong upline that you are able to reach out to and not quit and just let them know what's going on. And she put the ball back in my court and really helped me to say, well, are you going to allow this to destroy your dream of being able to work from home, raise your son, and create the income you want, the residual income? So that started my network marketing journey. Prior to that, I owned a franchise for 10 years, literally burnt myself into the ground. That's a whole other story. But that's where, you know, I went from corporate America to franchise. And then I was 33, I was a new mom, and I knew I never, ever wanted to go back to 9 to 5 or to opening up another franchise. So what do? I want to do something from home, raise my kids. And it was a beautiful thing. Well, what happened from there was within a year, I started curiosity marketing. I didn't even really know what branding was at the time, but I just knew, I was told, create curiosity. Don't like give the whole shebang away of what you're really selling. Just draw them in, share stories. So I started grabbing all the stories. Like before I even had my own success story, I was grabbing other people's stories in the company and just sharing those. And then I was blending it with my lifestyle and my kids. And honestly, it wasn't even like selling. It was just that I was so excited about the products that no matter what anyone said, I was like, oh, boom, next. If they said no, I was like, next. Like there's how many people in this world? Billions, right? Like just next. Like I will find somebody who wants this. And that's really how I detach the emotion, because you can't get upset if you haven't gained anything yet. And I was latching on to people in the beginning with Mother Teresa syndrome, like, oh my God, this product could help you. And I was spending so much time on like one individual person that like all these people would go by. So I will talk more about sales, but really quick, fast forward, I've been in network marketing since 2012. And 2016 is when I decided to start my own training company, which I just rebranded as the Freedom Designer. And, you know, I've learned a lot in the process around sales, around branding, around online marketing and social selling. And it's been an amazing ride. I've had a lot of success, a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but you know what? I don't quit. And that's really why we're all here today, right? We're continuing to learn. We want to understand this. And so real quick, I'm going to share the story, you guys, about sales. So who here, drop me, let's see, drop me a poop emoji. How about that? A poop emoji. If that's how you feel about selling. I'm saying that because, you know, I created 7 figures in this online space, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm telling you this because I was the girl that really despised selling. I'm like, I don't sell anything, I serve. You guys, we're selling, and you have to shift the mindset. This is all mindset, like, right? Like, there's so much mindset with this. And if you just make a couple small tweaks and shift that and understand and accept that you are selling, but it's in the approach. It's not in the sale itself.
Right.
And if for some reason you feel gross, you feel sleazy, it's because you don't believe in what you're selling. And you have the like whole wrong approach about it. So
and I'd like to say one thing also.
Yeah, sure.
I agree with you 100% because even today, I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. I still have conversations where I feel like the person is almost trying to get me to convince and sell them. And instead of leaning in, I pull back.
Exactly.
Because if you start to feel like I'm having to convince or sell, that is an immediate notification in your mind that like, I need to pump the brakes, right? If you ever feel like I am having to convince this person, you're doing it wrong. I don't want to have to convince anybody. I'll answer questions. I'll overcome some of their objections, their concerns, that sort of thing. But if I have to convince, and there's a fine line between persuasion and encouraging someone to get started because you believe in them and you believe in what you're promoting. But anytime you feel like I'm having to convince this person, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. Remember that. So never get into the convincing game, and just think about dating. Anyone ever remember the dating deal, right? Like it's been a while for us. It's been a hot second. Julie also, but
I'm like, what?
You're never interested in someone that's overly eager and they got commission breath. It stinks. So keep that in mind. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, right. And so, you know, and that's really, so when I had this epiphany, it was back to my dad. So growing up, my dad, he was in sales his whole life, and I saw him, right? And he owned his own business. Then he lost that business due to Microsoft, and we went totally bankrupt. We were like living large, went bankrupt, and it was a very stressful time in my home. I was around 11, 12 years old. I'll never forget it. We like almost lost our house. So, you know, I watched my dad scrounge from like ground zero and have to like rebuild again. And again, it was in sales. And what my epiphany was, and when I actually sat down with my dad when I started network marketing, and I started asking him questions around selling. And I said, how come you've had so much success? Like you were able to like rebuild and start from ground zero again. And he's like, Julie, because everything that I do and base everything off when I am selling is in the greater good and the benefit of the person. And it's all about them and building relationships with them and selling from he calls it the IBS, the initial benefit statement, and stop talking so much about the features. So this is something that parlayed into my network marketing career and what I started to hear. And my dad learned that from, you know, way back when, and he was teaching me these skill sets. And so I realized that I needed to have this shift and always remain that you're speaking to a human being. So it's be a human first, always. Share the way and sell the way that you would if you went out to, like, you just found like the best and greatest new hot spot, right? For you know, at a restaurant. I would be texting my friends and being like, oh my God, you have to try this place. It's amazing. Or I saw this movie, you know, one of my favorite movies is The Greatest Showman. Are you kidding me? I freaking put that all over the place. I was like, this is the best movie. You have to go see this movie. Like, I was selling this movie to people. And honestly, I didn't have to sell it because people were seeing, they freaking loved it. Like, that's the thing, is that, you know, just don't attach the outcome of there's a financial outcome, right? And it always goes back to being human first and relationship building. So let me just get in. Do you want me to get in? I'm just going to talk to them about the 5 reasons people purchase. And this could help with the whole sales shift, okay? Are we still good? I don't know, because I can't see any comments or anything. So
yeah. Oh, she can't see all the comments on the right side?
Oh, there we go. I had to hit live comments. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still learning StreamYard.
Yeah, we've got 200 people on all the platforms. Yeah, so they're
okay. All right, here we go.
Heart button, y'all, if you're loving JB. Come on, show me some love.
Show me some hearts. Yeah. So take notes. If you're taking notes, or you could obviously go back and watch the replay. So number 1 is generosity, right? We talk about this all the time. People value acts of service, and there's no need to be pushy here. So if you're not excited or proud of what you sell, I know this is going to sound harsh, but you need to be looking at something else. I'll say that again. If you are not proud or excited of what you sell, you need to be looking at something else. I have sold everything from a $27 item, or probably even like a $7 item, to a $30,000 item. And guess what? The $30,000 item was just as easy for me to sell as the $7 item or the $27 item. Just as easy. And so there was no need to be pushy. And, you know, because I have always given so much value, so people turn around and they start to get to know me, then they start to get to follow me, then they start to get to like me, and then they start to get to trust me. And that's that whole branding factor, right? So I'm going to bring branding in a little bit, because you should be branding yourself. And I'll say that until I'm blue in the freaking face. So again, if you're not excited or proud of what you sell, look at something else, okay? Give more. Give more. It's the law of the universe. It's a law of reciprocity, right? What you give is what you get. And don't just give to get something. Like, have no freaking expectations whatsoever. And the gross feeling comes from selling something that's crappy. It just, so if that is not in alignment with you, you need to stop. And this was kind of something that I was looking at a couple years ago, where I didn't feel in alignment with what I was doing anymore and what I was selling anymore. And I made a shift. I literally walked away from a network marketing company and resigned a multiple 6-figure-a-year position. I could have stayed. I could have stayed and done nothing and collected 5 figures a month, but I didn't feel good about it, right? And so I wasn't in alignment anymore. I didn't want to sell for that company anymore. And so I joined a new company. In the 8 months I went to the top of that company, it was the best decision I ever made. So always remain in pure generosity and the value of other people. So you want to look at, when you're having conversations with people, like, think about it as, what is it costing them right now not to take action? So first, you got to get to know the person, right? Then you have to find out, well, you know what? I don't want to go there yet. I'm going to back up. Because that's something I'm going to talk to you guys about in a second here. So let's just leave it at that. Generosity. Do you want to add anything to that first?
No, that's great. You got to be a giver. Got to be a giver.
Got to be a giver. And one more thing I want to say to that. When I was starting my online brand, it was 2016. John, this is when I went up against you guys in our first affiliate contest. The reason why, so this is what happened. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start a business page, and I'm just going to start giving value. I didn't even have anything to sell. This is when I knew I wanted to start my own training company, my own brand. And so I just started doing video every single day. John and Nadia were talking about doing video every single day. I think in 2015. And then they launched their video. Have you guys ever taken their live video challenge? It's awesome. So I was so petrified of doing video. And Nadia, in her full persuasion and her Russian voice, was like, I can't even do it. You've got to do it. I can't even. Nadia, I love you, but I can't even do your voice. Like,
you got to do
Julie, you got to do video. I did. I obeyed. Hashtag obey. And in July 2016, I did a video every single day. Well, guess what? It formed a habit, and I kept going, and I kept going. And then I still had nothing really to sell because I wasn't creating my own products yet. And then in October 2016, I was part of an affiliate contest. Never did affiliate before. And I crushed it because I gave so much value to people, never asking anything in return at the time. And then when I asked for a sale, like, people bought.
Law of reciprocity. That's
exactly. It. Okay. So number 2, emotional triggers. Okay. So people buy feelings, not things. I'm going to say it again. People buy feelings, not things. So an example, ladies on here. Okay. Let's talk handbags. If someone came to you and was like, hey, I'm going to give you a handbag. And they say, well, do you want this Louis Vuitton handbag, or would you like this, I don't know, Guess handbag? Nothing against Guess. I have Guess and I have Louis Vuitton. That's not what this is about. What do you guys think you're going to pick? Would you want the Louis or would you want the Guess? Right? It's or another generic brand. It's all about how it makes you feel. So when you put that Louis on, it's almost like, oh my God, it's luxury, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, I feel sexy. And don't lie here if you're on here. Like, do not lie. Like, you feel sexy. You feel like more confident. It's really weird. It's the same thing if a car you drive. Like, I had a Lexus and I traded it in for a Buick Enclave. And it was a totally kind of different feeling. I needed a bigger car, but I freaking missed my Lexus, right? It's the same as if you're driving like a luxury car and don't beat me up, but like a Buick, which I have a Buick, or Chevy. Chevy was my past car, right? It's a different feeling. So the emotions that people are after, you have to understand this. They want to feel free. They want to feel attractive. They want to feel worthy. They want to feel sexy. They want to feel confident. They want to feel seen. They want to be seen. They want to feel at ease. They want peace. They want joy. Okay. So that is what you have to keep in mind. And this goes back to, are you sharing your story, your hero journey story, from all the way across the board when you were younger, all the way to now? Think of all of the story banks. If you're not writing story banks, then you need to sit down one afternoon. We're all quarantined and start writing story banks and understanding. Like, I have a story from when I was a child, all the way through my adolescence, all the way through like my time in high school, like the feelings I got where I felt like I was not seen and I wasn't smart and I was the least to succeed out of all my friends. Like, I have those stories and I share them. I mean, you just said, I just came out.
I like that you said that though, because those are stories we create in our mind.
Exactly. Those are the stories.
Ourselves. I'm not successful. I'm not smart. I'm not worthy. I don't know a lot of people. I'm going to fail. Don't get your hopes up. Right. We literally talk smack to ourselves. Like, how many of us can relate to this? If someone talked to you the way you talk to yourself sometimes, you would slap that person. You wouldn't be friends with that person. You'd invite them to your VIP block party. Right.
It's the same thing. Like, okay, let's say you have kids, right? Like, I have two boys. If my boy came to me and was like, I feel stupid, or I don't feel like I'm good enough to be with, that crowd of kids. I mean, honestly, I would like smack this crap out of him. I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, I would give him a major mindset, like, overhaul. It's the same thing with ourselves. It's like, how do we deplete ourselves when it comes to our own mindset? So it's important to share the good, the bad, and ugly, and how you overcame it. And with my team just coming off our largest month ever in my entire network marketing history. Amazing. A lot of them went out there on their social media and crushed it because they were sharing stories, right? So you think about, okay, how can my products or what I'm selling, what are the benefits here, not so much the features, right? And what does that look like when I'm talking to people, and how can I relay it back to my story?
And do you recommend they start off with like the pain point, and then they share their story, and then here's the solution, but solution, not, you know, like people buy toothpaste not because they want toothpaste, it's because they want white teeth, right?
Exactly.
So I'd love for you to talk about that, like the story, the pain point, the story. Maybe you could outline that. I love that.
Yeah. So, well, for instance, okay, so we're launching a new brand boutique agency in my company. Okay. Now, the 3 benefits that people come to us for in their premium packages, right? They're people pay for it, but it's the 3 benefits. You know, I'm not so much talking about features, you guys. I'm talking about what they're going to get. Right. They're going to have ease because it's done for you. They're going to have clarity because a lot of solopreneurs, they don't have clarity on their direction. Like they're lost, right? They want clarity. Hello, I'm a business advisor. I'm going to help them get the clarity, right? They want exposure. I'm going to help them with the exposure. It's the same thing with your product. Like, let's say you have so we have one of our products is weight loss. So I have a girl on my team who she literally crushed sales last week. She came out of her shell and she started sharing with her audience stories. She started getting very, very vulnerable. So she was being seen, and she was morbidly obese. She lost 100 pounds. And, you know, this was not just the product. It was all in, you know, obviously we have to watch what we say with compliance and all of the FTC. However, the product was just an addition to other things that she was doing, okay? She wasn't just saying the product did this. She was just saying it was a benefit to her weight loss journey. And so she was sharing story. She kept it very simple. She, I think, talked about just one product in particular, because here's another thing with sales. When you start throwing a lot of things at people, they get confused and they do not buy. So she talks about one product only, just to intrigue. Now, when people message you, that's where you start having the conversations. And here's the best part. So if we're using social media, which we all are, right? You're drawing in people in with the curiosity and the story. People are going to comment, or they're going to reach out to you in Messenger. If they reach out to you in the comments, I want you to take the conversation into Messenger. Right. Now, when you get into Messenger, this is not your time to prance or pounce on them. This is the time to get to know them. And the best thing that you could do is to get into curiosity by saying, I'm curious, John, I'm curious. What intrigued you about my post, or what are you excited about learning when it came to my post? What would you like to know more about? And that's it. Right? Because selling is listening and understanding the needs of the other person and not your needs. Because most likely what happens is people get so excited and they go, oh my God, they want to know more. And then they go in and they're sending links and they're telling people about all the amazing things that this product can do and how we have other products that complement this product. And oh my God, then it's just a crap show, right? Like, so let's slow it down and have the conversation. So I don't know if that helped. I don't know if that was.
No, I think that's amazing. I mean, that's the thing, right? Sometimes we get so excited because someone expressed interest and we fire hose them and all they wanted was a sip of water, right? And yeah. You just got to be, you know, I heard an analogy one time I'll never forget. Don't feed a steak to a baby, right? Yeah. And I think we just have to keep in mind that when someone reaches out and they're expressing interest, that's all it is. It's interest. Right? Yeah, asking questions. And that's what we want, but we need to ask questions. What's your goal? Why did you reach out? What diets have you tried in the past? What business opportunities have you tried? Like, you want to have some connection and figure out what's their pain point Why are they reaching out? What are they looking to accomplish? I think this is so important. And don't be too, one thing I've also noticed is that whenever I'm maybe not in a real bubbly mood, right? And it's all business. I notice that I don't have the best conversions when I'm too serious. So make sure you loosen up a little bit. And remember, like you said in the beginning, you're talking to a person, you're having a conversation. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you make them feel good, they'll make that emotional decision and then they'll justify later with logic, right?
Right.
You justify later with logic. So I think that's such a good point. You gotta ask questions. Be a human first and a marketer second.
So here's the funny thing. So I went on a run this morning and I was thinking about this, I knew we were doing this today and I'm like, okay, how, and I'm so happy you said that because it triggered this for me is basically, people get hung up on, oh my gosh, what do I say to this person? I don't know who they are. They want to learn more. What do I say?
Right.
And as I was running, I'm like, if I was running with my friend next to me, I would just be like, like shooting the shit. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to swear, but my mouth. So but that's how it is. Like you're just shooting it, and you'd be running with your little buddy next to you. It's the same thing. I don't care if this person is my best friend on social media or this person, I have no clue who they are. And they are coming out of the wilderness because that's what happens. I'm like, hey girl, what's up? I saw that you commented. Let me just ask you, what intrigued you most, right? Or what do you want to learn more about with my post? And then they answer, and then here you follow up again. And let's just say they wanted to learn more about the weight loss product I was talking about or whatever. I would just say, all right, cool. Listen, what have you tried in the past? Talk to me here. What's bothering you? Why do you want to lose weight? How much weight do you want to lose? What are we talking about here? Have the freaking conversation as if you are talking to your buddy runner. That's how it is.
And they feel like you care, right? They're like, wow,
yes.
this person actually cares to take the time. And they're not just like, here's my link, go buy, which that doesn't convert anyway. I mean, sometimes once in a while you can drop a link, someone may purchase, but I doubt they'll purchase again. Right. Yeah. So I love that you said that. Have those conversations, talk to them like they're your best friend and, just make sure you're identifying what they're looking for. Don't just try to sell them whatever makes you money. It's not about you, baby. It's not about you.
Also, because you could be talking about this specific product, but maybe there's also something else that could also benefit them. And you could bring that into the conversation. Or maybe there's another product or another kit that you feel suits them better. So how do you know unless you start asking? It's like an interview process almost. That's how I treat it. And I talk about this.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So the third one, because we went on a tangent, but I feel like understanding emotional triggers is super important that most people don't think about when they're talking about their products. So third is FOMO, right? Because, people have the fear of missing out, period. Right. So what does that mean? Let's just say that you are throwing an incentive or a promo. So I just, I was throwing out crazy promos last month and it helped the team loved it, crushed sales. And so, it just, people don't want to miss out on a great opportunity. And so, like I said, maybe if you have a team promo or incentive or giveaway, and let's just say it's going away, I don't want you to use scare tactics. That's not what I'm saying, but promos don't last forever, right? So you can just there is a deadline.
You gotta have a deadline. Great certainty. Yeah.
And it's as simple as and people also want to feel inclusive, right? Which is why communities do so well. They want to feel like they're a part of something, which is why I think a lot of people stay with network marketing because they feel like they're part of a culture and part of a community, right? Rather than, even if they're not having success, they just stay because they want the people. Yeah. But it's the same as, so FOMO. So it's just reaching out to somebody and saying, listen, I get now might not be a great time, right? But if you have at least a bit of interest here, take advantage of this promo now to get going. And you guys, most companies have 30-day back guarantees, and we don't ever want to like keep pounding that in, but we could just say, hey, listen, there's a trial period here. That's how I say, instead of 30-day back guarantee, money to back guarantee, I'm just like, there's a trial period. Get in, let's get the product in your body, test it out, take it for a test drive, and see what you think. The promo's going away. At least get the $50 off or the $20 off or whatever it is. People hate missing out on good deals. They love deals. We all love deals, right? So FOMO, use FOMO if you guys are throwing some sort of team incentive or promo. Okay.
With Russians, they love deals.
Yeah.
They won't buy anything. They won't buy anything full price. It's always got to be a deal.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, I can say the same for Italians. I'm Italian and I always love a good deal too. I'm always looking for a good deal. All right. Okay, where am I at? Four, relationship building, right? Like I think we covered this, but know the needs of your audience, listen to them. People want to feel heard and understood. And when they know that you care more, right? Then that's when you make sales. When they really truly believe that you care more and you take the time with them. And it's all about that discovery phase. I talk about this. I've been talking about the discovery phase forever in my network marketing career, because that's how I feel like it is when you're first having the conversation with people. You're not going for the kills, so slow down. Take the time to have the conversation to even then see if it's right for them. Now, when you know it's right for them, that's when you can speed up. And here's what I mean. So let's say John reaches out to me. He wants to know more about the product. I bring it into Messenger and I say, hey, John, I saw that you commented on my post. Let's have a chat. First of all, I'm curious, what intrigued you about my post, or what had you reach out? John replies, well, I saw it was a weight loss product and I'm interested. I want to lose 20 pounds. I go back and I say, great. Perfect. This can definitely help you. What have you tried in the past though? I'm just curious. Again, get curious, but get curious, right? There's no judgment, always curiosity. Then he responds and he says, well, I saw that story about the girl that you were talking about, and you said that she lost the 20 pounds and my story kind of relates to her, whatever it is. You guys, when they're telling you and they're interested, at that point, you could say, all right, cool. Are you ready to get started? Or do you need to see some more information? Like, it is that freaking simple, because he's already reaching out to you and he's already raising his hand and saying yes. And so, and then you can even reiterate the benefits back to him and say, listen, so I hear you want to lose 20 pounds, but how would you like to have more energy? How would you like, so you could list some more benefits. And he's saying, well, yes, I want more energy. Well, yes, I want to feel good. Whatever it is. Then you're like, okay, cool. Are you ready to, you ready to purchase? Like, you just lead it straight to the freaking sale. Right. There's nothing else that really needs to be said. Or he could say, no, I want some more information. That's it.
Right.
That's how I sell.
Well, and it's a really good point, because sometimes you see people that they literally convince people and get them excited. They do all and then they talk them right out of the sale, because they continue to convince, they continue to talk, they continue to like drag it out. And it's like, I was ready to buy like 10 minutes ago. Like, can we just, can we cut to it? So I love that question of like, do you have the information to make a decision? What would you like the next step to be? I love asking that question. When I have someone that's kind of like, not making a decision, like, what would you like the next step to be? Right. What else do you need to know to get started? Like, let's get to it. And I think for a lot of us, we're afraid to close the sale because we don't want to get rejected. We don't want to mess it up. So we don't say anything, which is a huge mistake. And again, we're saying, don't try to close too soon. Like, if I look at Nadia and say, hey, Nadia, let's have sex.
Oh my gosh.
That's probably not going to work with her, right? She wants to be, she wants to be massaged, wined and dined, you know what I'm saying? Like physically massaged, or, just like mental massage, right? Some little mental massage, like, let's go.
I can't say the same about me.
Baby, how was your day? Right. And I'm married to her. So, the truth is the truth is, in sales, a lot like in relationships, a lot like in any situation, right? In dating, we talked about earlier, right? There's a process, there's a connection, there's that trust that you establish. Most people don't buy from someone they don't trust. Most people don't buy from someone that they don't feel has a genuine interest in them, right? And I think this is such a big deal because some of us suck at sales because of everything we're talking about. And it's mostly because, and I like to simplify things, I'm all about keeping things simple. Most of the times, the reason we're struggling with selling and recruiting, because we're always selling and recruiting. That's why. Change the damn subject once in a while.
Right.
How they're doing. Say something about their post. You know, my favorite thing to do, if I'm trying to get someone's attention, a lot of people do Instagram and Facebook stories these days. So I just respond to their story like, wow, that's awesome. Or heck yeah, I agree. And then all of a sudden I'm back in their inbox. I didn't bring up their business or the product. Sometimes I might just ask them how they're doing because I genuinely want to know how you doing. And then they bring it up. When I'm back in their inbox, I change the subject. I respond to a story. Maybe I go comment on some of their posts. They're reaching back out to me because I'm not making it all about the sale and my commission breath and making it about, you know, what I want, what I need. Makes sense?
Yeah. Well, John, you're a social media machine. John's a social media machine. Can we just all say that? Like that is his middle name. I call him the social media machine. That he's just a machine on social. So, you know, and that's the thing, like in these conversations, you have to get the mindset of just, you have to understand you are the alpha. Like, just remember that, like, you have to direct the conversation, and it's a dance. It's like the waltz, like you're asking and then you're listening, like then you're asking, then you're listening. And I literally dance them right into them getting started, because I will come back to their decision. If they say no, I will come back and ask them why. I will ask them, you know, what was it, or why are you feeling like you are not ready? You just told me that you have to, because remember, the first no is not the no. It's not the reason. Like, you have to, there's underlying reasons. Most people don't even get that far because they're scared to ask them why they're saying no. And you could just say, like, listen, I understand. And again, the importance of understanding and having the discovery process in the beginning. So then you know their goals, you know their expectations, you know what they're looking for. So then you could reiterate it to them when they say no. But John, you told me that you want to lose 20 pounds and you wanted more energy. And, you know, I'm just confused because you said this and this. And this is what the product can do for you. So why are you saying no? You know, what do you have to lose? If I told you have a 30-day trial period to put this in your body and test it. Like, right, like you're just reiterating back to them, and it's not convincing. It's just understanding what the underlying no is.
Right. And
it might be, well, I have to like talk to my spouse to spend the money, whatever it is, right? Like, we know.
Oh, and you're doing it in the form of a question. I like how you're doing it in the form of a question also. So that's part of the reason it's effective. And, you know, the reality is most people, it's a fear of failure. They don't want to get their hopes up. They don't want to spend the money. They don't want to buy the stuff, join the thing, and then have it not work. And they got their hopes up for no reason. They put money out for something. And this is where it's so important for us to, like you said, ask the questions, have the conversation, actually listen. Most people listen to respond. They just want to listen so they can respond and overcome and sell and pitch. And they're not actually listening. I feel like the first time I heard this was, what was that old movie? Woody Harrelson, Wesley Snipes, White Man Can't Jump. Yeah. And he says, you're hearing me, but you're not listening.
You're not listening.
Right? Like, you hear what I'm saying, but you're not listening. And I think that's the problem with a lot of us when we're in that sales mode. We're listening to respond. We're not listening to help them and guide them like a consultation. Remember, you got the cookie.
Yes.
You got what they want. You've got the solution, but how can we get them from point A to point B? And a lot of this is psychological. A lot of it, and you know, it's funny too. It's not like buying a car. It's not like they're buying a house. This isn't like a major decision. Most of the time when we're on social media, when we're promoting our products or our business, it's not like a major major life altering decision, but it could be if the product helped them. It could be if the business helped them. So the upside is so much more significant than the risk. But again, it's not always about the money. It's about getting their hopes up. It's about doing something and it not working and disappointing not just themselves, but their spouse, spending time, spending money, all the things. So I love that you said that. And I think it's so important for us to always be inquisitive when we're having these conversations, get them talking. I always notice, because I'm a talker, obviously, I always notice.
Really?
Right. When I'm doing most of the talking, when I'm in that sales process, I just notice I start to feel like I'm having to convince, and I pump the brakes, and then I ask a question. I make sure especially when it's over the phone. Messenger, it's a little easier because you can think through things. You can delete a message, right? There's all kinds of, but on the phone, right? You got to make sure you're getting them talking. They will literally sell themselves. When you're asking the right questions, they'll tell you why they need the business. And, I remember that question back in the day, we used to ask people, why did you want to start a home business? And they tell you all the reasons. And we would say, well, doing what you're doing right now, how long would it take you to pay off your student loans, fire your boss, buy the dream home, the beach house, whatever, retire your parents, doing what you're doing right now? And they're like, oh, never. It's like, great. Welcome to the team. Which credit card do you want to use? I mean, literally, we would get people, we'd walk them right into the punch because they're just like, no, I can never lose weight or get in shape or make more money if I keep doing what I'm doing. So it's like, if you want a different result, you got to take a chance. So I think it's so important. I love, love, love everything you said there. And it's not convincing. It's not, you're just asking questions to get them talking. That's really your goal. Keep them talking. And eventually they're going to go, I don't have anything else to object. Take my money. Let's go.
And the cool thing is during that discovery phase, like you get to learn their personality. And some people I don't want to work with. I'm like, oh, they actually might be very difficult. They're the excuse maker. They're like they're the butt person. But I had this going on. But I don't know if I can do this. But and I'm just kind of like, oh my God, this is high maintenance, right? Like you still want them to be able to take the product, but then you're like, oh boy, that person's a little high maintenance. I'm very selective on who I bring into my team and who we partner with, who I partner with. I want to make sure that I am not, pushing the wet noodle up the hill, right? Like I'm here to empower.
They have that low vibration, or
it's just a low, right?
Negative, you can just tell they're like, yeah, I've done all these other programs and they never work out. Or if I come over there, I'm going to need this. And you're just like, dude, it's just not worth the headache. That is such a good point. You actually learn who you want to do business with real quick by asking questions, because they might tell you why you don't want to enroll them, why you don't want them to be your customer, because it's going to be high maintenance.
Right. I don't want to deal with it. It's the same thing with branding. We go out there and this is always. The number one thing is you have to leverage your most important asset, which is you, right? Like we're branding you. I'll say till blue in the face. You don't want to attract everybody. You actually want to repel people. I don't want to attract everybody. Not everyone's my cup of tea. I'm the margarita mama. People love knowing. People are like, I might have those people who are like, oh, God, she drinks a little too much. She's always posting about margaritas and this and that. No, I just like to have fun. If you don't like to have fun, get out of my kitchen. Go. I'm not, it's the person I am. And so I say this all the time. We are living the most greatest day and age to just leverage social media to our advantage. So you better start getting very intentional with it when you're showing up. And it's okay, because not everyone needs to love you.
Right.
It's just the most important people. I don't want the needy people. I don't want the complainers, the excuse makers. I don't want the high maintenance people. That's okay. And, there's so many other people out there that align with my vibe and my energy that I am looking to build a business with. So I'm going to leave it there. Fifth, final five right here. Belief. If you don't believe and buy your own stuff, nobody else will. Bottom line. I will just say that again. And so there's no need to be aggressive. There's no need to be sleazy. There's no need to be pushy. There's no reason that you have to feel slithery sliding into people's inboxes with your stuff. No, the shift comes from understanding that you know, that really what it takes is just doing to others as you want done to yourself. Bottom line, right? And that advice always stuck with me. And, you know, I can't stress that enough. It is never do anything that's not you. I mean, I guess that's the only thing I can really say. And that's how I learned to just sell. You know, it's basically that it's a universal concept. People are buying anyways. I'm on Amazon every freaking day buying stuff. So why not have them buy from you, right? Like sales is what makes your business grow. So you have to learn to accept it, but just make these shifts of what I'm teaching you today of, you know, generosity, hitting them with the emotional triggers, selling them more on the benefits and the features, you know, doing some FOMO if you have some promos and incentives, building the relationships, super, super important. And then understanding that you have to have the belief in what you're selling. Like everything that I sell, I have a belief in, whether it's with my own personal brand, my packages, my programs, or my network marketing business. It doesn't matter. And you have to really understand that you have to detach yourself and drop any emotion to the money and the outcome or that need to make the sale. Because when I get no's, which is not very often because now I'm more experienced in this. You guys, in the beginning, I was getting no's a lot, but I didn't have the emotional attachment to the no because I didn't gain it. So that was my whole mindset around it. It was like, well, they're not in anyway, so what does it matter, right? Like, so next, let me keep going. Let me keep, you know, showing people what I have in these products. Let me keep selling the stories. And that's it. So I hope this was helpful.
No, that was amazing.
I mean, talk about this all day.
I mean, sorting, not selling, and belief is something that does take time to develop. So in the beginning, I love the Brene Brown quote, which I share all the time. Choose courage over comfort. Choose courage over comfort. You know, in the beginning, you're not going to be overly confident. You might not have a lot of belief, but you can pull belief from other people. Right? In network marketing, that's the beauty. You know, you talked about this in the beginning, Julie, about, you know, having a mentor and having someone that you could lock arms with and reach out to that could breathe that confidence into you. They could breathe belief. That's a tongue twister. Breathe belief into you. And I needed to lean on my upline. I needed to lean on others that were having success in the beginning because I wasn't having success. And even when I had a little bit of success, it seemed like it would always fall apart. So for me, I had to really work on myself. I had to develop skills. And, you know, yeah, you can read the books and attend the seminars and do all the things, invest in yourself. All of that is imperative, obviously, but you still don't truly develop the belief and confidence through learning. You do it through activity.
Action, totally.
Right? Through action.
Totally.
You know, it's everything. I mean, it's, for me over the years, like when I look back, I'm like, I can't believe how far we've come, but it's only because I continue to show up every day, even when I didn't feel like it, even when I wasn't getting results. I rode that emotional roller coaster up and down, invested in myself. Yes. But if you just invest in yourself, you don't take action. Like how many of us, let's be honest, have bought a course, bought a book, didn't go through the information. If you're not going through the information, then that's not going to help. And then they go through the information. This is the other part of it. They go through the information, but then they don't do anything with it, right? They go, wow, that made me feel good. Now I know. And then they do nothing. It's almost like they just need to know the information, but they don't do anything with it because sometimes I find people, they're procrastinating by investing money, buying courses, joining this, joining that, trying to find shortcuts and trying to be a part of the in crowd versus actually doing the work. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this. I don't completely agree with him on all things. This is one of those things where I don't completely agree with him, but I do like when he says, like, you don't need to buy another course. You just need to show up and do the work. I don't completely agree with that. I think a course, a mentor can help you speed up that learning process and can absolutely save you not just money and you know, effort, but it can actually save you a ton of time. Like you could read one book or invest in one course, one coach that saves you 5 years. Right. But you have to do the work. You have to show up. The reason Julie knows how to crush it when it comes to selling and branding, because she did the work over a sustained period of time, over the course of a year.
Hey, freaking men. And I've been on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, you guys, I have done the overthinking and the obsessing over certain things. And honestly, I realized like that gets you nowhere. Like obsessing about the sale, overthinking like, oh, I should have said this or I should have said that. You know what? Just understand that it's all a game. Have fun with it and just make part of the game just getting better. That's it. Like, I will never say that this last year has been the most challenging, and you guys know what I've been through, like the most challenging with mindset, with just reconstructing my business, with everything. And yet my network marketing business has flourished. So that has been a great thing, but just other things I'm doing. A lot of it was mindset. And once I just was like, I went through a lot of ups and downs, but never, and I didn't quit. So I'm proud of myself for that, but I will never say I failed at something. What I'm doing on this journey is it's a learning process. I don't think any of us are pros at anything. Like, I haven't arrived because I, have had success. Like, no, I try different things. I am brave and have courage to put myself out there and try different things and kind of course correct as it goes. So everything is lessons learned. Nothing is failure. We make mistakes, but we got to pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off and say, okay, you know what? Something here is not working. Let me take a step back so I don't get frustrated, throw in the towel, and reevaluate my approach. What am I saying? Oh, wait a second. I remember that conversation Julie and John were having about sales. Maybe I'll go back and re-listen to that again. Maybe reach out to your upline or your accountability partner and say, okay, can you look at this for me? Like, do you see something in here? Am I saying something wrong? You guys, sometimes I'll say this till I'm blue in the face too. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. It does not matter. If they want it, they want it. It doesn't matter, right? It's just in the approach of maybe how you're presenting it, right? And take what we're saying, what we're teaching you guys today, not the prancing, not the pouncing, be human first, have the conversation, ask the questions, listen, and really just genuinely have a vested interest in whatever they're looking to change or whatever whatever they're going through right now. Maybe they just want to share a story with you that has nothing to do with the product, but you're there and they're able to unleash a story on you or what they're going through right now. And you're human and you're like, just that little bit of giving to them and helping them feel good and picking them back up, that's when they buy, right? Like that's when you just gave them a little bit of that trust in you and likability in you. It doesn't even have to be a lot. It's just a little bit. And understanding that right now, with this whole quarantine, people are in a different mindset. They are in a different mind frame. And so, yes, it has to be a little bit more massaging and spending time and having conversations with people. I think some people are just all about like just wanting to make the sale. And you need to take a step back and just reevaluate that. And so maybe just looking at your approach.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I think it's also tough because we sometimes on social media, it's like a highlight reel. So we're seeing all these other people that are, having this great success and they're rank advancing and you see people winning. But for every person you see winning, there's probably dozens that are not winning. And mostly because those dozens, a lot of them aren't even trying. And then there's the small percentage of people that are trying, but just haven't gotten the results yet.
And who even knows
in the comments yet.
And who knows what the person did to win.
Right.
That's right. Like what they went through to actually get the win.
Yeah.
Like there's some people that might be winning that I'm like, oh, hell no, I don't want to go through that. Like, that's just way too much for me right now. Like, right. Like, so you cannot compare your, what do we say? The chapter 1 to the chapter 5 to the chapter 15, whatever it is. Like,
right.
You can't. And so speaking of chapters, I'm going to be in his book. I ended up pulling the trigger on his new book. So I'm excited.
Nice.
Jordan. Yes, I haven't talked about it. I'm just telling you. I forget people are here, but I'm telling you. So you cannot compare all the chapters, right? So you guys, I just said I had my largest month to date in network marketing. Okay, I started in 2012, right? How many years is that? 8, right? Largest month to date. But guess what? In 2017, when I made the switch, that was a really, really trying time for me. I gave up a lot, like, right? If you go back to that, so there's different chapters of highs and lows, right? And that's part of the hero journey, right? So people relate to when I share the story of how I left my company in 2017, like there are people that related to that story. I have people coming out of the woodworks for that, messaging me saying, oh my God, I feel the same way. But you know what, the thing is that I had to move forward in not scarcity of what I was giving up, but in abundance. So it was just another story that I was sharing that had attracted a lot of people to me because I was vulnerable enough to open up and share the story.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not perfect. I used to live in a home where my mom was all about perfection. Like if my pigtails were not perfectly aligned, she would have to go back and fix my pigtails. If my socks for school weren't pulled up to my knees, you know, with those little baby doll shoes, like she'd have to fix it. If the vacuum lines weren't perfect in her floor in our front room, we couldn't step in the front room, she'd go back and she'd vacuum it every single day. This was an obsession of perfection. Is to this day, I love her so much, but she still has it. And I started seeing that in myself the last few years. And especially with my online business, this has to be perfect. Oh my God, this sales page needs to be perfect, or this. And I started like obsessing over it. And I realized like, oh my God, I'm Joan. And so I had to like release perfection and understand. And so I shared that story. You guys understand me? Are you guys with me here? And so guess what? From sharing that story, people were sliding into my inbox or people were commenting. And then I was forming relationships. And then I started posting about my business, right? Like, so do you guys see how this works? You got to go to social media and be very, very intentional with it about sharing also what's in it for them, not just for you, but for them.
That's so good. You nailed it. People are loving it. Y'all smash that heart button. Share this with anybody you know that needs to hear this conversation because it's so important. And remember, without struggle, there is no progress. Without struggle, there is no progress. And you're either winning or you're learning. Most of us are going to do a lot more learning in the early days than we will earning, but you're learning from all of those negative experiences. You know, if you're on the struggle bus right now, it's all good because at some point you'll be able to share your story. At some point, you'll be able to relate to people that are struggling where you are right now today. 5 years from now, it could be 5 weeks from now. Who knows? Someone will be in a similar situation to what you're dealing with right now. It's just like this whole, like you said, the pandemic, like we're learning from this. It sucks. It's scary. It's unfortunate, but this is a learning experience and it shows us where our weaknesses are. And I'm not just talking as a country or our government or whatever. I'm talking as individuals, right? Yeah. Some of us are, you know, realizing like we need to do a better job of setting up a home-based infrastructure or creating other income streams or doing more, you know, with our family. Some of us are realizing we need to focus more on our health during this time. I mean, there's an adjustment that needs to be made in the world, but also in our own homes. So I think it's just so important to have that understanding of what we're going through right now, whether it's in your business, your personal life, or it's just, you know, with this whole, you know, situation of quarantine. I think we're just learning from it. We're learning every day. And every day to have that positive perspective and have gratitude, because the truth is, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad what you're dealing with, you know, the struggle, the adversity, the challenging times you're experiencing, it could always be a lot worse. There's always someone doing worse than you. You could always be doing a lot worse. And you keep that in perspective that, yeah, this is a trying time, but I think in many ways, this is going to be great for a lot of us, but because we're going to be more prepared if this ever happens again, which hopefully it doesn't, but if it ever does, you'll be more prepared because of this unfortunate experience. So learn from it, grow from it. And Julie, I just appreciate you. You're amazing.
Oh, I love you. I love that you said, I love the show. I think everyone should drop a comment and say, I love the struggle boss. Like start loving it because I'm going to tell you, always going to be struggle. Like you just have to fall in love with it. And John made a good, that's the thing. Like right now, it has been challenging times for all of us. Like we are united. We're going through this together. So now is the best time to be having these conversations. I've been very open with my community about what's been going on in our lives. I lost my aunt a couple weeks ago to a stroke. Tim's cousin just, there's a lot going on. So anyways, you guys, listen, that's part of life. Like this is part of life. It's never going to be all like happy roses. You guys crush it in network marketing, John and Nadia. You guys are, I can't even keep up with the zeros. But here's the thing. I'm sure that the two of you still have challenging times. Right. There is still struggle bus times for you, but you've just learned, like, I think what happens is we just go through it faster. So we learn how to overcome it quicker, and we don't let this get in the way of keeping us where we're at. Like we just know how to get over it faster. So fall in love with the struggle. It's all good. Have fun in the process. Have fun with your sales process. Get to know these people. And I think that's like just my final words. And just know that you're meant for more. You're meant for it. Sales is great. Please don't shy away from it. You need it to grow your business. Fall in love with it. Have those little tiny shifts, and you'll make it happen.
You just made me. I have to share these two things real quick. So I think what you just said was so good, and I have to share this. And I think those of you that stayed on to the end, I think you're going to get a lot of value from this. And we still have almost 100 people on here from all the platforms. So two things. One, I heard this guy at a convention say how he lost his grandmother. He was so devastated, and it was like, why God, why take my grandmother? Like, he was so upset because that was basically his mom, because I guess he didn't get to know his parents. And he did this whole thing about it. And I think a lot of people could relate to it because they've lost loved ones, family members, grandparents, whatever. But then he was like, you know what? I started thinking differently. Yes, she did pass away. Yes, I was upset, but I'm so thankful. He started turning it around. I'm so thankful I got to know my grandmother, that I had my grandmother in my life. A lot of people, I didn't meet any of my grandmothers, either one of them. I never met them because they died one died when I was very young. The other one died before I was born. So never got to meet mine. So he started looking at it differently. And I think we could take any negative experience, and no matter how bad it is, it's sometimes hard because some stuff's really bad. I get it. But you can say, hey, at least I got the time I did with that person, or at least I had this experience before I lost it. And I know sometimes when you're going through it, it's hard to look at it that way. But I listened to this podcast the other day, and I love this story because it was this dude, Ryan something. He was interviewing this woman. She's a life coach. And she goes, so why do you do what you do? Why are you so motivated? What's your drive? What's your deal? And he's like, oh, I want to own the Cleveland Indians. She's like, that's cute. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, I mean, that's cute. It's a cute thing to, want to have that. But, it's not like you just buy them and now you're this amazing person, and then you're worthy, and then everybody's going to respect you. And then it's like, and before they talked about that, because I want to finish on this point, but first I want to tell you this. He talked about before that how he wanted 6-pack abs. She's like, why do you want 6-pack abs? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, it looks good. And, just doing it would make me feel like I accomplished something amazing. And she's like, yeah. So you think like people are going to respect you more? He's like, yeah. She's like, so what you're telling me is people are gonna be like, damn, I didn't respect Ryan, but now that he's got 6-pack abs, he's less of a douchebag. Right. And they just started bawling, like laughing. And I'm laughing because I'm like, dude, that's because it's a mindset thing. Like,
so true.
Once I hit this rank, she's like, why not she's like, I'm already enjoying my 100 million and I haven't even made it yet. I'm just enjoying it now because it may never happen. I think it will, but even if it does, I'm going to enjoy it now. So she's like, why don't you just enjoy the Cleveland Indians that you own now, even though you don't own them? Just enjoy it now. Enjoy your life now. Enjoy it as if it's already happened. If it comes true, great. If not, you're not going to be 95 being like, never bought the Indians. Like, what a crappy life, right? It's a goal. It's great to stretch for it. But you do realize, and I was going to say this because you pointed out, like, we have challenges too. New levels, new devils. If you buy the Cleveland Indians and Ryan Moran, that's his name.
Ryan.
But so you buy the Cleveland Indians. What do you think? You just like sit back and collect a check and you're just like, no, now you have all these new responsibilities, and now you have all these
a whole set of new problems,
right? A whole new set of high level. Like we think we have problems, right? Because like our views on our videos are lower than they used to be. Or God forbid, recently we've been having an issue, guys, and I got to tell you, I'm upset about it. Money Monday was a little staticky because our Wi-Fi wasn't
StreamYard was breaking down on
right. Like imagine you own the Indians, and yeah, you're a billionaire and you got all this money, but who cares if you have a lot of money if you don't have your health, or if you're stressed out all day, you're working 100 hours a week, you're not getting sleep, you're getting divorced because. So don't think that once you get on the other side, you hit this goal, like then it's like problemless. Like all things are hunky-dory and rainbows and sunshine. There's no such thing. The only people without problems are 6 feet under the ground.
And it's, oh God, I swear I could talk to you all day. So real quick, it's so piggybacking off what you're saying, it is that shift. It is such a, so when my aunt passed a couple weeks, 3.5 weeks ago, it was unexpected, number one. And it was not COVID-19. It was a stroke. And John hit every emotion so fast. So I went through all the grieving emotions, like boom, 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 boom. Like I was a train wreck and a half. Like my whole family was, right? Devastated. I was angry. Like, why didn't I call her? You guys, everything. And then I was like really depressed for about 2 weeks. And then through this, it's COVID. So we can't even give her a proper, funeral service. Anyway, so I realized though, in the 2 weeks, like I can't, like, she wouldn't want me depressed. She was the life of the party. She lived 90 years. It was my grandma's sister, and I had her for 90 years.
It was like a you call that
great aunt. My great aunt. It was my aunt. She was my best friend. My grandma passed away 15 years ago, who was living with us at the time. We were taking care of her. She had dementia, and she was like my second mom, obviously, and grateful to have had her. But my Aunt Marie, like we just had her 90th birthday, December 1st, and she was just truck driver mouth, smart as a whip, Italian woman, like just had no filter. I loved her. And the day she had the stroke was the day I was going to call her to check in on her because I didn't talk to her for a couple weeks, and I punished myself. I literally punished myself. And so the shift happened because I said, I have to pick myself up. I have kids, I have a husband, I have work. Like I can't live like this. And it was the shift of gratitude that I had her for the 90 years, right? And that I was able to, it wasn't the best time to lose somebody, but you know what? She's with me, right? Like, so just even having that shift, it's just so important. So I wanted to make notation of that, and like I agree with that. And then what was the second thing we were just talking about? You said Ryan Moran was saying
these people have these big dreams, big goals, and they think once they get that 6-pack, or once they get 100 million, or once they hit this rank where now they're making 5,000 a month. Now everything's going to be perfection and no more challenges, and that's just not the reality.
Been there, done that, hit a goal, crushed it, made this amount of money, crushed it, did this, crushed it, but guess what? I still didn't feel the completion. I still didn't feel the joy. Like I was always on to the next best thing, and I didn't celebrate it and really take it in. So I feel like that is so important that we always say, oh, well, when I do this, I'm going to feel this way. No. You have to feel that in here first. Like you have to feel good first, because I promise you the goal is an instant gratification when you hit it. It's not total fulfillment. The fulfillment comes from within, in the life that you're leading, in the life that you're living. It's not in the money. It's not in the hitting that next goal. Yes, I get it. It's cool, but you have to understand that it's like an instant dopamine hit. It's not something that sticks with you. So you have to work on yourself first. If that is the feeling that you're getting, then it's going back. You have to go internal and start, right? Like doing more of the, like what Nadia talks about, like really understanding gratitude and fulfillment and meditation and getting in alignment more with yourself. And
as Nadia will say, you need to be present.
Yeah, be present.
Hey, got to be present. Well,
Amen.
This was extremely valuable.
Yeah.
I know
So good,
anybody
you guys.
I love you guys.
that stayed on till the very, very end. This last 15 minutes was just straight fire. So I appreciate you, Julie. You're amazing. We love you. You're one of our favorite humans. We love working with you. We love doing life with you. Can't wait to go to where are we going?
Cabo.
But still, hey, right now, November seems like hopefully.
I know.
That's long enough away that you're like, that should be back to normal.
I know.
I appreciate you. So much value. People are loving it. Smash the heart button if you got some value from Julie. Make sure you follow her. And hey, tomorrow, Les Brown, y'all. So hope to see you then. And we appreciate you.
Peace. Love you guys so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.